So we are seeing about Vanuatu. Vanuatu. So Vanuatu, it is like about the place. So we have been seeing about the cotton plantations. So it has been when the international cotton prices collapsed, they switched to coffee, cocoa beans, bananas, and more successfully coconuts. So initially, British subjects from Australia made up the majority, but the establishment of Caledonian Company of the New Hebrides in 1892 soon took the balance in favor of French subjects. By around the start of 20th century, the French outnumbered the British 2-1. US Navy helicards on Espiritu Santo Island in February 1944. Um, so, like then, so a lot of stories about the French and the British. Um, so they established a joint naval commission, and the British French condominium, a unique form of government. That came together only in a joint court. The authority was extended in the Anglo-French Protocol of 1914. So this was not formally ratified until 1922. Melanesians were barred from acquiring the citizenship, and they were officially stateless. So in 1920, indentured workers from French Annam, now part of Vietnam, came to work in the plantation in New Hebrides. So the population increased, and after the crisis, it decreased. So there was some social and political unrest, and so there were challenges to the government too. So the Americans arrived during the Second World War. So this led to the rise of nationalism, and so John Frum, so he was a mythical messianic figure, and indigenous cargo cult, a movement attempting to obtain industrial goods through magic. So this is about a form of crime. It is about a form of um, uh, like magic, getting through cheating people, and promising Melanesian deliverance. So 1966 flag of colonial Anglo-French New Hebrides. So the first political party. So it was a national party, and one of the founders was Father Walter Linney, who later became Prime Minister. Renamed the Vanuatu Party in 1974. So there was one thing called Coconut War. So we'll see about the Coconut War. So it was a brief clash between Papua New Guinea soldiers and rebels in Espiritu Santo shortly before and after the independence of the Republic of Vanuatu. So quite different names, and so a lot of so Maxim Carlet Coleman. So there was a government under, and so there were new elections, and So there is cinder plain of Mount Yasur on Tanna Island and a stream of F8 Island. It's a Y-shaped archipelago consisting of about 82 relative small geological neo islands of volcanical origin, with about 1,300 kilometers between the most northern and southern islands. So there were 14 of Vanuatu islands that were a surface area of more than 100 square kilometers. Uh, so the active volcanoes are Lopevi, Mount Yasur, and several underwater volcanoes. Volcanic activity is common, so ever-present danger of major eruption. Nearby undersea eruption of 6.4 magnitude occurred in November 2008 with no casualties, and an eruption occurred in 1945. Vanuatu is recognized as distinct terrestrial ecoregion known as Vanuatu rainforest. It's a part of Australasia ecozone, which includes New Caledonia, Solomon Islands, Australia, New Guinea, and New Zealand. 90% of Vanuatu households fish and consumes fish. Um, which has caused depletion of nearshore fish species. So there were signs of deforestation too. Islands have been robbed of high value timber, wide scale slash and burn agriculture converted to coconut plantations and cattle ranches, and there were increased soil erosion and landslides. Many upland watersheds are being deforested and degraded, and fresh water is becoming scarce. So then the flora and the fauna has limited plant and animal species. It has indigenous flying fox, Pteropus annitianus. So what is this flying fox? Um, so it's commonly related to Samoa flying fox. So it's about the bat, and so the bat is called as a flying fox, and so fox never flies, and fox is accorded, and so then the flora and the fauna. So rainforest and timber regenerators, they pollinate and seed disperse wide variety of native trees. Their diet is nectar, pollen, and fruits, and they are commonly called as fruit bats. They are in decline across the South Pacific range. Um, so the 19 species of native reptiles include the flower pot snake, found only on Ifate. So the flower pot snake, it's a Diwali time. So it looks like about this. So animal, rodent, and reptile. So mm, non-venomous blind snake species, and looks like an earthworm or like this caterpillar. Okay. Then about the flora and the fauna. So um, the Fiji-banded iguana, Brachylophus fasciatus, was introduced as a feral animal in 1960. So it's a ferret, and so it's about a lizard kind, Fiji-banded iguana. So it's a reptile, and so um, next is that there are 11 species of bats and 61 species of land, small pollination rat, tortuga indigenous and large species, so hogs, dogs, and cattle, and so the region is rich in sea life with more than 4,000 species of marine mollusks and large diversity of marine fishes. Cone snails and stonefish carry poison fatal to humans. So there are cone type of snails. So there's a greenish cone type of snails and stonefish carry poison. So the giant East African land snail so arrived there only on 1970s, but has already spread from the Port Vila region to Luganville. So it looks like something something about the Paris and France. So then there are some saltwater crocodiles living in Vanuatu mangroves and no current breeding population. So there is a lot of history about the flora and the fauna. So the climate is tropical, 9 months of warm and hot, rainy weather, and possibility of cyclones, and 3 to 4 months of cooler, dry weather characterized by winds from the southeast. So trade winds also occur. Um, so So the United Nations University gave Vanuatu the highest natural disaster risk of all countries it measured. And tropical cyclone, Cyclone Pam, um, the worst natural disaster. And so Ralph Rengibano said, it's the worst disaster to affect Vanuatu ever as far as we know. So earthquake, so they are frequent, government, politics, um, so they have given a lot of lists. So there's a National Council of Chiefs called Malwatu Maori, and so a lavish feast is given uh, for a high ceremonial grade. So there is a coalition governments and the Union of Moderate Parties and Vanuatu Party, Anglophone. So it's anti-colonial. So there's a Supreme Court, and there's a British common law, French civil law, then the Constitution, and so there is a customary law to deal with, and the foreign relations. So there's Million Challenge account of the United States and People's Republic of China. Uh, so a lot of economy. So it's not a member of Interpol, along with 11 countries, mainly in Oceania. So armed forces, there is police force and mobile force, and administrative division, swear into Malampa, Panama, Sanma, Shefa, Tafia, Torba. So the economy, so exports. Um, Economy is through agriculture, tourism, offshore financial services, and raising cattle. Exports include copra, kava, beef, cocoa, timber, and imports include machinery, equipments, foodstuffs, and fuels. Mining activity is unsubstantial.